The story begins in a medieval magical world, as a young girl with long white hair and green eyes arrives at the capital city of the Til's kingdom. While checking in at a cheap inn, we learn that her name is Mile and she can use magic. She is here to join the hunter prep school. Lenny, who is working in the inn, is happy to hear that, stating how a famous hunter would bring big profits to the establishment. However, Mile says how she just wants to live an average and unremarkable life. While exploring the city on the next day, she bumps into a couple of girls. At the marketplace, she learns about the local children going missing. Before turning in for the night, she talks to Nano about it. Nano appears to be a floating cat-like creature who is made out of the nanomachines only she is able to perceive. We learn that she is in fact a noble from the Brandel kingdom named Adele, but more than that, she is originally from our world, where she had no friends because she was better than others. One day she saved a child from getting hit by a truck, but in the process she was the one that got hit and died. Afterwards, a godlike person reincarnated her into this world. She asked of that person to have average abilities for the world she will be in, so that she would be able to make normal friends and live a normal life. 12 years have passed, and a lot has happened since she reincarnated into this world, leaving Mile wondering if she will ever find normal happiness. The next day, Lenny is late returning from her shopping trip. Mile is worried that she might be kidnapped like the other kids, so she decides to go look for her. While looking for her, she runs into some bandits, but the blonde-haired girl from yesterday comes to her aid. But in the end, it is Mile who uses her magic to deal with the bandits. The blonde girl introduces herself as Mavis, a knight, and they join forces to look for the missing children together. The pair runs into more bandits, but they get aided by the red-haired girl Mile met yesterday as well. She uses fire magic and tells them that she is Renee. Apparently, she is also looking for the children. The trio continue towards the bandits' hideout, where they find the children. The children were kept calm by the third girl Mile ran into yesterday. The taller, brown-haired girl introduces herself as Paulin and explains that she asked the bandits to let her come with so she can take care of the children for them. She proceeds to use some healing magic to mend Mavis's wound. However, Mile notices that Lenny is not among the captured children. Running out in a panic, she is confronted with the mastermind behind the operation, a well-dressed and posh-looking lady with purple hair. Her goons attack and best Mavis and Renee, while the posh lady explains that she wants to create her own harem of beautiful girls. Shifting her attention to Mile, the posh lady calls her a flat-chested child and wants her in her harem as well. A red magical aura is visible around Mile from her anger, which shocks Renee. Nano interjects to explain to us that in this world, magic is the nanomachines taking and following the spellcaster's thought waves, which causes various phenomena to occur. Mile thought waves are vastly more powerful than an average spellcaster, which makes her magic extremely powerful. The reason for that is a little trick the god played on her. As she asked to be average, he made her average compared to all the creatures existing in this world. But in this world, the most powerful creature is an elder dragon. With the intermission done, Mile fires off her magical energy, destroying the bandit hideout and knocking out the evil lady and her goons in one go. Realizing how overboard she went, she apologizes and runs off, while everyone else is still in shock. On the way back to the inn, Nano states that she is not really made for normal life. Mile is upset at the power she was given, making it difficult to live the way she wants. The next day, we learn that Lenny is okay, as she was only late because she went on a side trip. Upon arriving to her room, she is shocked to see she will be sharing it with three very familiar faces. They properly introduce themselves to each other before they start pressuring Mile for information about her power. She is saved from the interrogation by the bell, summoning all the novice hunters to display their skills. While trying not to stick out, she manages to do the exact opposite once again, which makes her roommates even more curious, so they try to pressure her into telling them more about her past. Mile keeps coming up with obvious lies, so eventually they relent thanks to Paulin saying how everyone has something they would rather not talk about. The four of them form a party and get a mission to defeat 10 horned rabbits. The dexterous rabbits prove too hard to catch for everyone except Mile, knowing that if she does everything herself it would not be good for their future quests, so she begins training her three new friends. After a few days of hard training, they become capable enough to get those rabbits, but as they are preparing to head back, they get ambushed by 3 rock golems. Mavis, Rena, and Paulin manage to bring one down by pushing their limits and working together. In the meanwhile, Mile takes care of the remaining 2 by herself. Returning back to the prep school, they are the only party who managed to clear their quest. The posh evil lady from before is planning her next move to capture Mile together with her goons. From them, we learn that her name is Arlety. 6 months have passed, and it is graduation time in the hunter prep school. Lots of other hunters are trying to recruit Mile, but she is remaining loyal to her existing party. By Riena's suggestion, the 4 of them decided to stick together for the time being. The principal of the school asks their party to participate and win in the mock battle against rank B hunters. Such a mock battle is tradition, but this time around a certain noble put pressure on the school. If the school's team loses, they will shut down the school. The 4 girls agree, and the day of the battle is upon us. Mile runs into Arlety, who wants to talk to her in private. Learning that Arlety is the one behind the pressure on the hunter school, Mile asks her to reconsider. Arlety agrees on the condition if instead of the school shutting down, Mile becomes her property if just one from her group loses in the fight. Mile agrees and goes to the arena for the match. The rank B hunters turn out to be the same goons working for Arlety who they fought against before. However, Mavis, Riena, and Paulin have improved much since their last confrontation, this time easily dealing with the baddies. As it is Mile's turn to fight, Arlety jumps in to fight her, but she soon realizes just how strong Mile is and gives up the match while confessing to her crimes. After the amazing performance, lots of famous hunter groups are asking the 4 girls to join them, but they all refuse and officially announce the creation of their own party, the Crimson Vow. Following Mile's suggestion, they make Lenny's place their base for the time being, since it is a cheap place and they need to earn money. Lenny even gave them a special deal if they help her out by working as waiters every now and then. After doing some easier quests for the local hunter guild, they pick up a job to escort merchant caravan. While escorting them, they learn that bandits have been recently attacking and killing all the merchants heading for the border town Amroth. Sure enough, they also get attacked by the bandits. Mile and her friends have the upper hand, until one of the bandits summons a gigantic rock golem. But even that golem proves to be easy target as Mile and Riena combine their magic attacks to crush the golem. One of the bandits triggers Riena's memory of her father's death, so she invokes her magic to burn him alive, but the other 3 girls stop her. Riena tells her friends about her past, how she was traveling with her father who was a peddler, and one day they got robbed by some bandits. Since they did not have anything of value, they decided to take Riena and sell her into slavery. Her father tried to stop them, but got killed in front of her eyes. Some hunters came by and dealt with the bandits, saving Riena, but it was too late for her father, and soon after the hunters adopted her, teaching her magic while they adventured. One day they also got ambushed by a lot of bandits while escorting some merchants. With the merchants trying to save some of their precious cargo, they offered to betray the hunters to the bandits, telling them how Riena had magical potential and would be worth a lot of money. The hunters tried to protect Riena, but they were all slaughtered by the bandits. At that point, Riena snapped and unleashed her magic, burning the bandits and the merchant who betrayed them alive. Paulin confides next, telling the others how her father, owner of the Beckett Company, was murdered by the head clerk who then falsified the deed to leave everything to him. The local viscount supported the false deed, and the head clerk even pressed her mother to become his mistress. Paulin then ventured out to gain power before she would return to exact her revenge. Mavis tells them that she does not have a troubled past like that. Turns out she is the eldest daughter of Count Ascham, and she has 3 brothers who are knights. She wanted to become a knight as well, but they all opposed it, so she ran away from home. Finally, it was Miles' turn to talk about her past. She gives in and tells them about her past in this world, leaving out everything about the reincarnation and her life before her death. She tells them that her real name is Adele, and she is the daughter of Viscount Ascham of the Brandel Kingdom. Her mother and grandfather got killed by her father, who immediately brought in a new stepmother and her daughter into their mansion. Adele was treated poorly and was not allowed to use her family name, practically being disowned by her father. During her spare time, she practiced magic. We are told that this is when she first met Nano, although she never tells the other girls about him. Eventually, she got thrown out of the mansion and went to an academy. There she managed to make friends, even though she ended up sticking out with her powers. At some point, there was an accident where she protected a little kid from being punished by the royal guards. Using her magic, she pretended to be a goddess and make them repent for the unjust punishment, but realizing that this will bring too much attention to her, she fled the kingdom, leaving her friends behind. The 4 girls successfully escort the merchants to Amroth. With their quest complete, they go ahead and do some sightseeing, while the merchants go back on the road to continue trading. The day goes on, and they are having fun, when they hear the news of the merchant caravan getting attacked and slaughtered by some bandits. Before they realize it, Riene is already on her hunt for the bandits. She tracks them down and attacks, but they prove to be too challenging for Riene, overpowering her magic and hurting her badly. Mavis, Paulin, and Mile arrive just in time to save her. With Mile's magic, they make a quick escape and heal Riene, giving her a stern talking to for acting on her own. During that time, the bandits catch up with them and strike. Realizing that they are too well organized for bandits, the girls suspect they are soldiers from the neighboring kingdom, on the mission to disrupt the trade by the border town. Their suspicion is proven true, but even with them being soldiers, they do not stand a chance against the four girls. Riene is furious at them killing innocent merchants like that, but manages to overcome her rage and not burn their captain alive. Eventually, the defeated soldiers are captured by this kingdom's forces, and the matter is forwarded to the higher-ups to settle. Returning back to their base, the Crimson Vow decides to take a short break from adventuring. Miles suggests going to the beach, and even prepares swimsuits for everyone. The girls decide to humor her. Everyone ends up having a lot of fun playing on the beach. The swimsuits turn out to be too revealing for the fantasy world, as everyone who sees them on the beach thinks they are being indecent. The girls run back to their base. It is once they get back they realize that Paulin is not with them. From a regular message, Mavis learns that the youngest of her brothers is getting married to no one other but Paulin. Sharing that information with Riene and Mile, they decide to go check out what is going on. Paulin is back home, preparing to get wed to the Ascham family, as per wishes of her new father. She has little say in it, as her younger brother and mother are kept as hostages, forcing her to go along with the wedding plans. Arriving at Paulin's hometown, the three girls see it is in a horrible state. Apparently it became that way after that store clerk took over her father's business. They beat up some local thugs and force them to disclose everything about their boss and the company that runs the town. In Paulin's mansion, Mavis's father came by to meet the bride-to-be that will marry his son. From the thugs, the trio finds out about the corruption running rampant in this town. And so Mile, Mavis, and Riene attack Paulin's compound in order to break out Paulin and stop the political marriage. The chaos they cause forces the guards from the compound to leave Paulin, her brother, and her mother unattended. Paulin uses that chance to confront her stepfather and the Viscount, who is allowing all of that to happen. All that commotion alerts Count Austin, Mavis's father, who was still around. In front of him, Paulin explains everything that the Viscount has done to her family and company. Austin decides that both sides will have trial by combat to decide who is right. Thus Paulin fights against the Viscount and her stepfather, beating them up properly before they get taken into custody. Austin explains that he was already looking into their criminal activities, but decided to use this as a chance to pass judgment over them. Afterwards, he insists for Mavis to return home, but she is determined to remain with the other girls in the Crimson Vow. She proves her strength and determination to him, which surprises him, and he decides to have a duel with the one who is training her now, to determine if he will allow Mavis to leave. Mile, being the one who is training Mavis, accepts the duel and beats him. He remains true to his word and allows Mavis to do as she pleases. With Paulin's wedding cancelled and Mavis free to go, the four girls return back to their base. Back at their base, the girls are struggling to make any money. Tired of being forced to work as servers, they go for the best-paying quest they can get. This turns out to be a wyvern hunt. They take on the quest and set up a bait for the wyvern. Once the wyvern arrives, they realize it is staying way out of their reach, so Miles starts throwing the others up at the wyvern. Eventually, they manage to bring the wyvern down to the ground. As they are about to deliver the finishing blow, an old man named Punaclift interferes, pleading the girls not to kill the wyvern. It turns out he has befriended this wyvern in the past and will now take care of him. The girls still get the payout from the quest, as the old man is a royal mage and quite well off. Using some of the money they got from the quest, they get a large bath built next to the inn for their use. Also, they renegotiate their terms with Lenny, so they do not have to work as waiters anymore. It is Lenny's birthday, and the girls celebrate with her. Paulin realizes that it will be almost 200 days since they met Mile at the prep school. With that realization, they decide to throw a surprise party for Mile and buy her a gift that she would like. In order to do that, they need to earn some money in secret, without involving her, since the accessory that they think she was eyeing is quite expensive. And so they start coming up with excuses to go out on their own, which makes Mile worried that they are angry at her. Days pass, and they are getting closer to their goal for the party, still keeping Mile in the dark. Eventually, she cannot take it anymore and confronts them about it, breaking down in tears from the way she felt. The three of them explain what was really going on, and Mile is relieved, having a laugh about them misunderstanding what accessory she was looking at. Instead of the expensive one, she was looking at some cheap earrings, wondering if all of them could get matching ones someday. They end up holding the party and Mile is overwhelmed by happiness. The Crimson Vow decides to take a difficult quest from the Hunters Guild. They are to track down a missing investigation team that the guild sent beforehand, which they sent to investigate what is wrong with the nearby forest. Some monsters that should be around in abundance are nowhere to be found, while other way stronger monsters keep appearing unexpectedly. The monsters prove no challenge for the party, but all of a sudden they get attacked by a bunch of beastmen. They fight them off and retreat, making sure to injure a few so they would have to go back to their camp to heal up. Using that to track down the location of their camp, they infiltrate it under the cover of night. Inside of it, they locate the missing investigation team and, by using Mile's magic, break them free while putting the beastmen guards to sleep. From the investigation team, they learn that the beastmen are excavating some sort of ancient ruins, and that they have taken the professor who was in charge of the investigation somewhere into those ruins. The girls decide to go rescue the professor and enter the ruins. Inside the ruins, they are found out by the beastmen, but they manage to defeat them and press on. Going deeper, they notice all sorts of ancient engravings. The engravings are depicting modern technology, with one depicting bombs destroying an entire city. Mavis, Rian, and Paulin find them fascinating, since they have no idea about the context, while Mile is worried by what that means. They locate the professor, who turns out to be an elf girl. She explains that these are not just random engravings, but depictions of the past. Before they can talk more, a dragon comes up behind them. The girls, excluding the professor, engage the dragon, but their attacks do not seem to do anything to the monster. It is then that the professor tells them that this is one of the Elder Dragons, the most powerful creatures on this world. With one attack, the Elder Dragon knocks Mile out, leaving the others to fight on their own, believing that Mile will recover if they buy her some time. Mavis, Rian, and Paulin go all out against the dragon, who praises their effort, but does not seem fazed by their attacks at all. Mile remembers her time in our world with her family, followed by the memories she made with her first friends in this world. Thinking what could have been if she had been smarter about handling things and not run away from them. While her current friends are desperately fighting the dragon, she is laying down thinking how hopeless it is, beating herself up how she always messed everything up. She remembers the vow the four of them took when they formed their party, and what it would mean if she does not try to help them now. Mavis, Paulin, Rihanna, and the professor are about to be annihilated, but Mile gets back up and hits the dragon with her magic. The dragon retaliates, but his magic cannot penetrate her barrier. Nano explains to her that she is half as strong as the strongest Elder Dragon, but not all Elder Dragons are as strong as the strongest one. In addition to that, when the nanomachines are given clear and direct commands, they become even more powerful. Much to her dismay, two more Elder Dragons show up, and with their combined magic manage to break through her barrier. But Mile does not give in. Instead, she picks herself back up and pumps everything she has into a full power blast. The magic she releases brings down the three Elder Dragons, and everyone rejoices. Once the Elder Dragons come to, they explain that they are in this ruin seeking a lost civilization. The professor is surprised to learn about that, considering that would acknowledge a legend that there was an ancient civilization that did not rely on magic living here. According to the legend, they were able to conquer the oceans, skies, and even the stars. And even though they were so advanced, their civilization eventually crumbled. The dragons wanted to operate secretly, so they got the beastmen to do the digging for them, but it turns out this ruin was made by late worshippers of the ancient civilization. So because of that, they are willing to leave and not bother this domain any further. The girls agree, and the situation is resolved. Days pass, and Mile just cannot get the depictions of the engravings out of her head. Worried what might happen if those dragons do find remnants of that ancient civilization and their weapons. She does not want to tell her worries to her friends, because she will have to disclose that she is reincarnated, which she does not want to do. Eventually, she decides to set out on a journey to find out more about that ancient civilization and the Elder Dragons on her own. However, Mavis, Rihanna, and Paulin catch wind of her plan to leave and follow after her. Even though she states how dangerous her journey will be, they refuse to back down. Apparently, they were worried that she wanted to just leave them behind because she does not like them. Mile quickly dismisses that idea and pulls them all into a big hug, before they head out on their next adventure together. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.